Hello, everyone. My name is Faith. I'm the creator of the Fanfiction Audio Dramas YouTube channel. We are here with another cast interview today. I am here with Austin Murphy, who voiced the role of Caspian in our Chronicles of Narnia audio drama. And I'm here with Marie Raftery. I'm sorry, Raftery. Did I get that
You're
right? Who
Raftery.
played Elizabeth in part 3. And y'all, did they not make the cutest couple? And much like last time, even though they did that, this is the first time they are ever talking to each other.
Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you.
All around. And a quick content warning, because we are talking about Elizabeth's character in this interview. We are going to be discussing some themes of abuse, so please proceed at your own discretion. So let's get started. Why don't you guys introduce yourself and tell me how you got into acting, whether it be in-person acting, voiceover, a little bit of both. Austin, why don't you start?
Sure, yeah. So a little bit about me. Well, let's see. Getting into acting was sort of an afterthought, a side thing, because I hadn't really thought of it. It was just one day, and when I was a teenager, someone told me that I was developing what they called golden tones. And I had no idea what they meant until one day I think I perfectly imitated the GameStop commercial guy. And when that happened, that set me on a very strange course of eventually making an account on Casting Call Club as my first place that I actually ever did any form of casting calls, and now has grown into doing all sorts of projects either for fun, for pay. It doesn't really matter. It turned into a fun little expression because I'm someone that very much enjoys storytelling to a severe degree and loves to not just tell stories but be involved in them. So at some point it just became a thing of I want to help bring characters to life, not just write them, because there's a lot of creative stuff that happens on my side of the world, and at some point I just feel like I need to just help bring them to life rather than actually go out of my way to help shape them. So to some degree, that's what it is I like bringing to life other visions, and I don't like voicing characters in my own productions. That's another thing. So that's a brief overview of how I got here and how everything ended up the way that it did. But I am very thankful for it because it was fun playing Caspian for just a little bit.
Marie, how about you?
When I was in kindergarten, I think I saw my elementary school's production of Alice in Wonderland, and then someone told me oh, you can do that in a couple years, and I was like, you're kidding. No way I can do that. And then so from there my mom put me in music theater summer camps, if we were lucky, and then that turned into a love for music theater and storytelling, and I went to college for theater, but then in college I found that it wasn't quite. I had kind of fallen out of my love for theater because the industry can be so toxic and not great, and I found out some neurodivergent things about myself, and it just didn't mesh with the state of Canadian theater at that point. And one of the graduates from the program I went to, St. Lawrence College, she came to do a class with us on voiceover, and I was like, no way I can do that. So yeah, she kind of turned into my mentor for about a year, and now I'm here. I love voiceover. It feels like everything I wanted out of theater, all of the storytelling and the heart. And yeah, what I've wanted to do my entire life is tell stories and specifically be a part of what's been dubbed the representation revolution. That's a big thing for my heart. And so getting to tell Elizabeth's story was a ginormous part of that. So thank you.
Thank you. That's so cool. It's always so fun to hear how people get into acting because not a single person's story is the same. So everybody is different, and it's so fun to hear everybody's different stories. Were you guys familiar with the Chronicles of Narnia before you came onto this project, whether you auditioned for it or contacted you, said please audition for this. Are you familiar with it?
I was as a kid. My parents would read me Chronicles of Narnia, but like as bedtime stories. But honestly, I fell asleep through most of it because I was 5. So I knew it in parts. I knew most of the stories, but I didn't know it as well as I wanted to know it going in. But now I do.
Yeah, now you know it probably more than you ever wanted to.
And I'm just, I tried the books. Okay, listen, I tried. I very much did. I gave him an honest shot, and I'm gonna give him another one. I promise. I'm giving him another one. I actually just got what I think it was the 1980 or 1990 release of all of them while I was on a trip to Kansas most recently. So I have them all. They're yellowed and everything. They're old, and I'm looking forward to reading them. However, the movies grabbed my attention when I was growing up, and my obsession with the franchise was still ongoing even when we hit Dawn Treader and everything started falling apart with the franchise after that. I was still sitting there, naive, not knowing anything about the film industry just yet, being like, oh, I can't wait for the next one, and then it just never happened. But indeed, and now I know a lot more about Narnia because of this project.
I know. I make the joke that like the Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe movie is one of my favorite movies of all time. I could mute it and quote the whole thing. Now, to be fair, that's also because I've worked on this, and so the dialogue is very homed into my brain for the rest of my life. Even before I started this, though, I could still do that. So I'm actually the same way, although I read the books to my dad. So we did the other way around. And sometimes he would fall asleep too. But to be fair, he was working all day, so he is an excuse. But yeah, I've just loved the Chronicles of Narnia so much. I mean, I'd have to work on a project for 3 solid years.
They're wonderful stories. It makes sense to keep on working with them, they're excellently crafted.
Yeah, oh yes, they're so good. I had considered doing a couple like short one-shots for Silverchair and Last Battle back when I was rewriting this, but I got to the end of where we end now, and I was like, oh, this is such a perfect ending that if I continue on, it's just going to be a disservice. So we scrapped that idea. But so what were some challenges working on a project like this? And I just said it took 3 years, so the answer can be how long it took to get it done.
You go for it.
Okay. Yeah, I think, I mean, honestly, I had a lot of screaming to do. So I was living in a condo or like an apartment at the time. So that was, yeah. And as Faith will remember, there was a lot of motorcycling happening in the city of Kingston at the time of recording. So that was tricky. But I mean, Elizabeth goes through some heavy stuff. So figuring out how to tap in and tap out and figure out my bandwidth for that was, yeah, it was a lot, but it was good a lot.
Funny enough, shouting a whole lot was actually not one of, I love to shout, so I was actually doing fantastic on that one. I have a great time with it, much to the concern of my wife, mind you. Much to the concern of her. But she's fine. By this point, she's used to what I'm doing. So the only thing that, even if I scream help, she's just assuming I'm a character. So one day, I might not actually get a 911 call if I actually need it. But my challenges, it came simply from a couple different places. One, of course, the recording sessions were indeed long, but they were fun. So it's not a bad challenge. The real challenges, there were 2 of them. One is learning the Spaniard accent, because I'd never done that before, and just trying to make that convincing. It's a very challenging one to figure out. So it took a lot of me listening to a lot of, honestly, just audio of people speaking with that accent, and trying to mimic it, to copy it. Honestly, it was a great relief to actually switch to the more English accent, because that's like I've been doing that for fun since I was a wee lad. But uh, as for the other challenge, most certainly was this project took so long that I went through 3 different recording studios, and so yeah, so I had originally I started this project when I was living in Texas for a little bit, and when I was living down there, I didn't have a studio. I had an office set up like this and just a very nice microphone that didn't care about room tone. So there was that. And the second time that we did this, I had moved into this place, but the studio, again, not ready. The floor was still made of hardwood and everything. There's no carpet, so I'm still like trying to make sure the audio doesn't bounce around because it loves hardwood when you're trying to do that. And then lastly, I finally have my own studio set up, and here we are. Now I have to make this audio actually a little bit less quality to match the audio from the other episodes.
Yeah, that's a long one. And to be fair, I don't normally take this long when I do projects, but like I was kind of running 3 at the same time, so it's a little more challenging.
Oh yeah, that's not a
Normally,
dog on your project
and of
at all.
course, like, sometimes people are a little unreliable, so shocker. But it's like, sometimes people disappear on me, and so I'm waiting for lines that are never gonna come. And then I have to take the time to like go find somebody else. And then sometimes people do tell me, and I still gotta go find somebody else. So it's a whole thing. Directors deal with a lot. But yeah, normally they take me about maybe 9-10 months to finish. So it's still long, but it's not quite as long as this one took. But because I was running 3 at the same time, all of them took about 11 months to finish. So,
I mean,
but it was worth it. It sounds very good. I'm very proud of your performances.
I'm glad, because that was a good amount of retakes. It was fun.
Yeah. So usually we do stages of 3 recording sessions almost. The first time when we're recording everything, we do a live session where we do a voice call on Discord and go through all the lines. I direct them on how I want things to be read. And then the second 2 times after I've edited everything and placed all the lines, and they just do that on their own. I send an email saying, hey, record this differently, like put more emotion here or whatever. And then another final retakes on after I finish like all the music and the volume and everything. So and then sometimes, we have extra ones for people who I need very specific stuff from. But y'all just did 3, so congratulations. So what was it like coming onto this project later than other people's? Because, like, for example, Austin, you came in kind of towards the end of when we were doing production of part 1. So you came in there about, I don't know, maybe a third of the way through. And Marie, you came in like right at the end. So what was it like coming into this at different stages?
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Well, I remember the first reaction that I had was I don't remember that from the story, but that's because I wasn't ready for the subtle additions that were made to your version of the tale, which is awesome to me because then that makes it seem like I don't have to worry about trying to get like everything accurate, because this is something that's like now we get to have fun with the story. We get to have our own interpretation. I love that concept. So that was the first initial thing that really threw me off, because I was sitting here like, okay, I have to be the movie Caspian. Okay, we have to, but then realized, oh wait, no, I don't, because actually that in this tale, he wasn't there at all. So there was that, but mostly, I think coming in so late, I was mostly kind of just bottom line surprised I got the role. It was quite a surprise, because there's a lot of very talented individuals that are on this project, and I wasn't expecting to join the ranks of those folks. So I suppose those were my first 2 reactions, and from there it has just been listening to the stories as they've come out. It has been, I suppose, the biggest surprise is, wow, this is very coherent. This is a fantastic tale of the telling. I like it. So yeah, that was majority of my experience with that.
I'm used to a very fast turnaround, so I didn't really realize ooh, well, exactly what was happening or how late I was in the process. Um, but I think did you okay, I was trying to figure out where you might have found me, Faith. I think it was on because Faith just reached out to me and asked me to audition. Um, I didn't do initial auditions. But did you find me? Okay, my theory was you found me through I was like auditioning for a little robot assistant with an like a royal pronunciation English accent. I kind of thought that might be how you found me, but I'm
Yeah,
not
I can't
sure.
remember exactly what it was. I know what I did was I went into Casting Call Club and like filtered by projects that had like actors with an English accent so I could listen to who could do one and then reached out to some people who I thought gave convincing ones. So it was I can't remember which specific audition it was, but I did listen to other auditions you did and said, like, hey, she has got like a good voice. I think that would fit this. She can do an English accent.
Thank you.
Audition and here we are.
Cool, thank you. I was surprised, I think, to be reached out to. That was quite a compliment. Especially if it was from, which I think my theory is right, a little AI assistant English robot. um, yeah, it was honestly it wasn't that being so late in the process wasn't jarring to me. I'm used to a ridiculously fast turnaround time, so it was a little comfy maybe. It was fun to do. It was so fun to do. It was I will say though, I didn't really get to read the script ahead of time. So it was read it in the booth, 2 seconds to process and then full full out, which I've never quite done before, but it was really fun. It was really cool. A good challenge.
Yeah, and oh gosh, our live session took so long. I think it was 3.5 hours. So up to
Yeah.
you for that. And I kept asking, like, "Do you need a break? Are we okay?" And you're like, "No, I'm good." So it's like, okay, I'll just keep going then. And I mean, even initially, I was like, this is such a heavy character. Please let me know if you need just like a mental break more than anything. But we powered through, so
Yep.
it was good. Yeah, good time. Yeah, you were lucky. I had some people in part three who recorded stuff like a year apart. So I felt so bad about that. But I was like, I mean, so much of this is out of my control. So
No,
I'm doing
of
the best
course.
I can. But yeah, every now and again I'd have to ask for a retake. And I looked at like the last time we communicated. And I'm like, it's been a solid year. Sorry. So you were a little lucky you didn't have to wait quite so long.
Yeah. Thank you.
So we kind of touched on this a little bit, but talk to me about the experience of voicing a character who's already in the material and voicing an original character who, I made up for this story.
I went first last time. You could take it. That's fine by me.
Okay. Okay. It was really cool to do an original character. I've done theater my whole life, so I've only done something original maybe once before. It was really cool having a character, I guess, that kind of felt like it was besides the writer and director when it came to acting, it was completely mine to interpret. I didn't have some big Broadway star that everyone was hoping they would see through me on the stage. And it was such a well-written character. Thank you. It was such an amazing character, and I am so honored to get to play her. Yeah, just overwhelming good feelings.
You.
You would expect. Oh, I was stressed. No, there's that guy. He played it so well. I'm sorry, I don't remember his name. He played it so well in the movie. He was fantastic in both the movies that he was in. He was wonderful, and I can't step up to his shoes. Man, that character is mine. That's how I walked into it. Is that I didn't want to be him, and so in my mind of not wanting to be him, or even really anyone's book interpretation of the character, I wanted to really make that character my own. And so, in that, honestly, the intention behind that is what really carried the performance the most, because I didn't want it to be let's try to be the guy from the movie. Let's try to be someone's interpretation of the character. It was just let's take these notes that I've been sent that are extensive, and now let's see how we can take them and apply them to this character, make it so that it actually ties up, which does not mean shout almost every line, by the way, because there was a lot of lines that was like, could you be less intense about that? I think it'd be a little, you know, and I'm just like, but I love to shout. I want to be angry, you know, let's make Caspian so upset. But that's just my misreading of certain contexts that resulted in that anyway. But I did enjoy trying to take a character that people actually recognize and know and turning that on its head to have a different form of performance with it.
Yeah, and I kind of have the same thing going on as a director where I'm like, do I want this line said exactly the way they said it in the movie, or do I want to give them like some creative freedom? And for the most part, I really am not super picky about you need to say it exactly the way the actor said it. I think the only time I got really intense was it wasn't with either of you guys. It was a line in part one from that the White Witch does. I don't remember exactly what happened. I think she just left out the word the, and it was a line from the movie, and I was like, it's fine. Normally, I don't think I would care, but because it's a line from the movie, if I listen to this, it's going to bother me for the rest of my life. So can you please redo that with that word added? But yeah, normally I'm not quite so picky about it. And even sometimes when we do live sessions, I'm like, if I had like just had that over email, I don't think I would care, but you know, we're doing a live session, so do it again. We kind of have that little bit of a balance as a director. So Austin, you didn't even audition for Caspian, is that right?
I don't. No, I didn't. I
auditioned. And I was like, I don't think you did. I think you auditioned for Miraz, and I liked your voice so muthat I cast you as Caspian instead.
Yeah. I auditioned for almost every other male character. I think I auditioned for almost every other one, and I remember auditioning for Miraz and being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna be an angry Spaniard. Oh, I'm gonna be all the way down here, and I'm gonna be like my son, you know, and be all upsetty all the time." And it's like, oh, well, I guess I get to be instead the victim. This is great. Let's do it. But it was fun. It was entertaining because
sometimes when I'm casting, I like look at like other people's auditions. Mm-hmm. So for anybody who wants to get in the voice acting world, build up that profile by just auditioning for a bunch of stuff, because so many times I'm like, I need to hear the range. I want to hear if I can like direct a performance out of them. You know, if every audition is sounding the exact same, then I'm like, I don't know. That might be a little hard to get us all the varying levels we need, because I mean, look at both Caspian and Elizabeth. They're just all over the place. So yeah, I always look at other people's auditions when casting. So that doesn't always influence my casting decision, but most of the time it does. And you also auditioned for roles in part one, didn't you?
Oh yeah. I didn't get any of those, and so whenever Caspian came back, I'm like, well, I love Caspian way more than the original movie. So I decided I had to come back. But that's the thing, right? Persistence. Because I knew that I had the chops. It was just up to you, the director, creator, to determine whether or not those chops were the ones for you. So I think that's kind of a mentality thing, is that it's not really about, you know, do I have the talent? Do I have the skill? I think that anyone who is in any form of creative practice should have the mindset of, you do have the talent. You do have the skill. Even if you don't entirely have it yet, throw out your coins, see if anything lands. It's always up to the creator and the director to determine whether or not you are the right fit. That's not necessarily a comment on your talent or whether or not you're a good actor.
Yeah, and I even remember I have like a whole planning document process when I'm casting, because I'm, you know, sometimes sifting through hundreds of auditions. And I remember I definitely remember that you made like the final cut, shall we say, where I had like you on the list of like I could potentially cast him somewhere, and I was like, I love his voice so much, but there's nowhere to put him in part one. And so I was so happy when you auditioned for part two, because I was like, I can put him somewhere now. So let that be a note that like sometimes a no is just a not yet. So
exactly.
Like, can you imagine what would happen if you got so mad at me that I didn't cast you that you're just like, okay, whatever?
Oh dude, I would have been sad.
Yeah.
We kind of touched on this a little. Marie, talk to me about what it was like playing such a tough character with such a, you know, a tough background, tough backstory, different like you know, just talk to me about that.
Okay. It was it was really, I always like, anytime an actor has said, oh, it was really rewarding, I was like, what are you talking about? But then I felt the words start to come out of my mouth. It was really rewarding. It just, it felt really right. To be so for real, I went through some dark stuff as a kid, some similar to Elizabeth things. And so what always kept me hopeful was seeing representation of people who had been through terrible things and them overcome it. That's what kept me going as a kid and my entire life. So getting to be a part of that was really just my entire life stream. And it was hard to do sometimes, but honestly, I have, like Elizabeth, I've worked on healing for years and years now. And so if you are going through tough times and you want to voice a character going through tough times in the future, you will learn over time. The hurt will kind of get smaller and smaller and smaller, so that when you do have to tap into hard things that you've gone through, it won't be overwhelming and scary. It will feel, it'll hit you with a wave of, it's okay now. Like, everything is okay now, and look how far I've come. Sorry, that is a lot. But, like, so is Elizabeth. It was, I don't want to say it was hard to do, because it wasn't really. It felt good to do. It felt, validating. It felt really validating to do. I could ramble about it forever, but yeah, it was rewarding, and it was kind of hard, and it felt like everything in my life had kind of built up to being able to represent that and tell other people in any situation that you will be okay, you will heal, you're going to be okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much for sharing that. That's so nice. And she's one of my favorite characters I've ever created, but
it's a fabulous character.
thank you. It was like I said this before, that this whole thing was a rewrite from something I wrote in college in, like, I think 2016. And oh boy, that first draft truly just awful. But it's so bad, y'all. I mean, the only person who ever really got an actual, like, character arc was Elizabeth, and even then it was just messy and terrible. But
you gotta have
this
a first
is the whole,
draft.
like, rewrite I did in, like, I think 2020, 2021. And so now that I'm much more knowledgeable about, creating characters, I really, really wanted to make sure that this was a respectful, like, representation of what sometimes, people go through the worst stuff. And I had to make sure that it wasn't coming across like, it's good that you went through this because, something good came out of it. It's like, no, this was a horrible thing and it shouldn't have happened. It's awful that it happened, but you can still pull something good out of this experience. She, like, went through this horrible stuff, but it did bring her to Narnia. She never would have come to Narnia without that. So yes, in a perfect world, we never want that thing to happen, but we can pull something good out of absolutely awful situations.
Absolutely. Going through stuff that I've gone through, some people have come up and told me, oh, everything happens for a reason. And that, when you're going through stuff, that is just the worst thing to hear, honestly. So I've gone through life, and so much of the wonderful things in my life have happened, I'm not going to say because, but it wouldn't have happened without things that I went through. So I don't believe everything happens for a reason, but I believe that, I had the saying in my hand and now it's gone. I believe that you can make everything happen for a reason. That it's, you can find a reason for everything to happen. Yeah, if that makes sense.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I feel like you very much did through Elizabeth, which I really respect and would like to thank you for.
Thank you. That one line toward the end, like when we like kind of see the culmination of her arc when she's confronting her abuser and is like, I'm not going to give you power over me any longer. Oh my gosh, the way you read that was so good.
Thank
Oh
you.
my gosh, goosebumps every time. And it's so good because I know we had to kind of work on what I call the affirmations, where she's always saying to herself, I'm kind, strong, beautiful, and loved. We had kind of play around with it of like the varying levels. You know, we had the one that was like the whole intimate scene between her and Caspian on the ship. There, that was like, you know, I'm saying this for the first time, so it's kind of unsure. I'm trying to convince myself of it, that kind of thing. And then, of course, when we're in the scene later on, when she's saying this to her abuser, it's more like trying to like block out that voice, and what is usually in her head, but this time she's actually hearing it. And so we had to play around with like, how quiet do we want this, and how strong do we want it this time? And because she says it a total of 4 times, so, you know, I had to kind of grow in intensity. And it took a few, you know, trial like takes to get it where we needed to be. But oh my gosh, it turned out so good. It's so amazing to hear her like start off so quiet and unsure, and then she just like lands at home. Oh, so good. She did such a great job.
Thank you. Thank you for your excellent direction.
Thank you. Was there a scene or a line in part 2 or 3 that you remember that you liked?
I have to go back into that script in my head here. This is funny. So like whenever it comes to doing lines like this, the ones that stand out are the ones that like I have to lock in the hardest. So that being said, the entire scene, and there are 2 of actually that I can think of. The entire scene where I am confronting Miraz in his bedroom, that entire scene, I remember having to lock in because I was trying my absolute hardest not to be the movie version in that moment. I actually remember a conversation that you and I had while we were doing the live recording, where we did multiple takes of the whole "Did you kill my father?" line, because we were trying our best to not sound like that guy. And so coming up with different iterations of the character, of the concept of the line, and trying to figure out how to make that fit for my voice in particular. But then the other one, very simple. It's when me and Peter are having a scuffle and I have to shout "Hey" really loud. Because I had to shout that more times than I really expected I would have to. And it was very entertaining to do so. So memorable for 2 different reasons.
It was good, but yeah, shouting lines are always fun. You're a really good shouter, by the way. I've worked with some people who kind of need me to like push them a little bit to get to the level we need to be. Or sometimes people are just like worried about, you know, their neighbors and they don't want to be overheard. But y'all had a lot of shouting lines and you were super good at it. So way to go.
I appreciate it. It's simply because of the experience of having to work in an after-school program in Chicago. Lots of kids that don't pay attention to what you're doing until you start shouting things.
In that scene where you had to yell "Hey," I kind of had the same thing with, and I mentioned this when we did our interview with Elaine, where when she screams enough to like break you and Peter apart, I made her do that so many times because it was never loud enough. I was like, these people are going at it. You need to like scream at them to like break it up. And so after like who knows how many she did a lot. And so finally I was like, okay, I know that was annoying, I know it made you do that a lot, but I promise you it was worth it. It sounds good.
It sounds great. Yeah, so, it worked out perfectly. A good quality scream, you can't sleep on it.
Right. What about you, Marie?
Honestly, I would probably have to say the affirmations. Again, because it was rewarding. It was, it felt good, and it was hard. And when I got through it, I was proud of it. You know? Yeah,
it was good. Oh, I love the affirmations.
So good.
And yeah, that was. I don't remember if when I sit down to write things, sometimes I have an idea of what I want, and sometimes I kind of just let my fingers do the walking. And stuff comes out, and I can't remember if that was something that just came to my head while I was working on it, and it just ended up, becoming a huge thing. But yeah, I'm I'm really glad I came up with that, but
Mhm.
it was good.
Yeah, the emotional scenes were
It was
excellent.
such a good.
Yeah.
It was a good culmination of like her arc and her growth, and I think it was cool to see like how, like we said, even though she's like been through this awful, abuse for a solid 2 years, it we never like she never let it stop her from being a good person.
Yeah.
We like talk about how like sometimes like things like that will explain behavior, but it doesn't excuse it. So it
Mhm.
was cool to see that like she, you know, instead of like, just drowning in sorrow and, just she would have been justified in completely, turning into an angry person, angry at the world. But no, she was like, okay, I've been through the worst thing ever. So now I'm going to help other people who have also been through terrible
Mhm.
things. So it was cool to see. And I appreciated as I'm clearly patting myself on the back a lot here, but I, there was more. I cut a few lines here and there because I was like, well, that was supposed to be foreshadowing, but now it just doesn't really fit. And but when you realize what actually happened, you can kind of see hints of like where she was getting this. Like there was the scene in like when they were in the marketplace where she like fixes the guy's dislocated shoulder, and then you find out like why she knows how to do that later because she
Mhm.
had to fix her own dislocated shoulder and all of that. So there were like little hints of like why does she know these things? I don't know if she should know these things, but then it's like, oh, that's why she knows how to do all this stuff. But
Yep.
and another super sweet scene was and I love this trope is when people talk to each other through doors. So I love the scene where she like we have that confession of like this is what I went through. We have the whole flashback to Caspian and while she's in the closet, he's outside and they're just talking to each other. I love scenes like that.
Mm.
And I thought it was and this was another one that I had to kind of chop so that I wasn't over explaining too much. Like I don't want to treat the readers like they're stupid and can't figure things out on their own. So I had to like word it in a way that's like showing um she's taking back control for the first time. So her like just making the choice to open the door. I think I like actually wrote out now she's getting back control and I was like, we don't need that. They can figure that out themselves. So I thought that was a cool scene to like show she's finally taking steps to like not be that person who is I guess limited by what she went through before kind of like taking back control in her own life. I love it. I actually had I did this kind of with it wasn't quite as prominent as it was with Peter and Elaine, but every now and again when there is a very feelsy scene between Caspian and Elizabeth, you can kind of hear a little the same theme going on in the background, which is from the movie One Night with the King. So it's a super cute score, and I was like, okay, so feelsy sad moment here. We're gonna use this score here.
Yeah, those scenes
So
were.
y'all have your own theme. Congratulations.
Yeah, those scenes were good.
Now you can go
Rachel.
back and listen to it and try to see if you can hear it.
I shall. I shall.
Adding in a little bit of thought like that really goes a long way. Always does.
Yes. Yep. Absolutely.
Well, this was excellent. I love getting to do this. I just started doing this a few months ago, and I'm gonna do this all the time now. This is so fun. It's so fun to like to get to talk about, something that I'm of course so passionate about, and that I know you guys are passionate about, and get to hear like more experiences on behind the scenes and what went into it, and why it takes so long for me to post videos. And but do you guys have any final thoughts?
Final thoughts. If you haven't listened yet, go listen to it. Let's see. The opportunity has been fantastic, and I very much appreciate those who have gone out of their way from the other productions that have heard my voice in the past. I have gotten feedback from folks who have listened to those other things and said that this was a fantastic role that I was able to pull off. So I very much appreciate those things because those very much help make it so that this is a much more success story in my mind, because I know that it worked out. The product's there, but getting to see people actually interact with it, I love getting to hear from folks. So I will say that as my last thing. If you've listened to it and you haven't left a comment yet, what's wrong with you? Go comment on it. Say your favorite scene right now.
Yeah. Feel free to tell us that we're amazing.
Or that we suck.
Right,
We could also
right,
we could do with some humbling. Sometimes the high horse is a little high.
Yeah, that's true.
Really, we were all just like fucking ourselves up so bad here. But I think we deserve it after all that work we put in.
I was gonna say it's a big thing that we all did, and I don't know, it feels kind of milestone-y for me, and I assume for everyone here. So congrats to you all. Go watch it. Thank you for this opportunity. So amazing. I can't wait to see what you guys do.
If anybody was curious, this whole thing, all 3 parts together, is 12 and a half hours long. So that's just a testament to what we did. And there were a total, across all 3 parts, there were a total of 75 voice actors. So it was a big undertaking, but it turned out very well. I am so happy with the end product. Thank you guys so much for taking your time out of your day to do this, and also for all the work that you put into it. It is amazing. Thank you for putting up with all of my constant emails and say, hey, do this differently, and all of that, and all of the long time it took, and needing to be in 3 different studios. I appreciate it very much. I'm so thankful that you guys came onto this, that you were willing to take the time to do live sessions with me, to do all the retakes. I'm just so thankful. I can't even begin to tell you how much I appreciate it, especially because y'all didn't get paid for it. So extra gratitude. So thank you guys so much. Thank you everyone for watching this interview. I have no idea when the next video I'll post will be up because I'm not even sure what I'm doing right now. So thanks for getting a little look behind the scenes. And again, if you haven't listened to that project, go listen to it and comment on it because we all want the notoriety. So thank you everyone. Bye.